Today's Saturday. August 20th. I should be at a point where I'm very close to my target, but I'm not. I took a huge back step yesterday. Now, the mind is a very, very complicated thing. That's why it makes day trading very, very difficult. And the reason I say that is the mind takes the information, then processes it, and then makes the decision. But for some reason, in most of my cases, what happens is the information comes in, but I do not process it at all, and just passes by. Now that happens often because the mind has a singularly important purpose. It has to do something. And the objective of the mind, my mind, is it has a directive. There is a mission. My mind has a mission. And when that mission is set, it's like a rabid dog. Essentially, that's what it is. It's a rabid dog. The reason why I say that is because when my brain is programmed to do something, it'll just keep doing it until some other emotions triggers the mind to change its thinking. For instance, when I day traded yesterday, I bought a stock called Boeing. The stock was down, but in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I'm just gonna buy the dip. That's the pre-programmed thought even before the market started. That's the pre-programmed mind. So the stock is down, so if I get in, then eventually, if not now or later on, it's going to recover. That's what my mind is thinking. So that's error number one. That's the rabid dog thinking. And so then it starts to drop a little bit, and then I add a little bit more because my thinking, the pre-programmed thinking before the market started, was that it's going to recover. Unfortunately, I added 6 times and it just kept going down. And then after I finished adding, after the last add that I did, and then it just dropped even more. Then it's fortunate that my account is small, so I depleted my account, and so I couldn't add anymore. Then at the end of the day, the lowest point of the day, my emotions kicked in, and this rabid dog thinking. The brain was locked in. It's like, essentially, that's what tipping point is, essentially. A tipping point is when there's a concrete change in the mindset where a mind just reverts for how long of a time it is. It is a behavioral change. And then at the lowest point, when the whole world was in the most emotional pain and suffering because they are unable to absorb the pain caused by the thought that's been new information that has seeped in. Not when it was going down and when I added, it was, the pain did not occur. There was no pain at that point. But the emotional pain that occurred at the point where it was at the maximum point. And that at that maximum point where the loss was so significant, it essentially wiped out just weeks of work. Then at that moment, then the mind is reverts. It's the tipping point. It's the tipping point where it says the rabid dog thinking has converted. It's just inverted. Now something must be done because that singular mindset was reverted. So where am I going with this? I suffer from something called rabid dog thinking. And I've repeated this, I go into this trance where the only way to remove this trance is to have a stimulus that has an extreme amount of pain and suffering. And that extreme amount of pain and suffering is always there. It just takes a while, an escalation of thinking for the mind to really grasp onto what's really going on. And then the mind needs to percolate and think and then cause emotion, internal strife. And when that internal strife is significant enough, that causes the emotions to explode. And when that emotion explodes, then my muscles tense, and then my heart rate increases, and my adrenaline grows, and I have this incredible thinking, this negative thinking that's going to get lower and lower and lower, and I got to get out at this point. So at that point, the rabid dog thinking of one particular mode is replaced by another rabid dog thinking of flight. And essentially there's if I can figure out how to solve that, what I've seen in my trade is essentially that. It's that's all it is. It's essentially trading is controlling that rabid dog. Okay, if I can control that rabid dog to replace it with logical thinking, if I can figure that out, I've already spent so much number of hours reviewing what the professional day traders are saying, and I have it in my mind to put these things together to figure out what the right things are to be done. And therefore, if I can lay down that rabid dog, if I can lock that rabid dog in a box somewhere and put it in somewhere, and being humane is to feed it well and let it roam free. If I can imagine a situation where I could take that rabid dog, I want to take that rabid dog, okay? And then take that dog out into the field and then release it away from the trading that I have. If I can somehow figure out a way to free the rabid dog, how do I do that? How do I remove that rabid dog thinking so that I can latch on to the proper manner of trading so that I can be prosperous for a very long time? And then in between that very long time, that rabid dog will never appear ever again. It's a tipping point, all right? It's a tipping point where that rabid dog is gone. So help me God.